Infinite Warfare. The pretty good Call of Duty game, which is pretty decent and way better than Black Ops 3, but not as good as the previous installments, has been hated on for pretty much no reason. I mean, it has a great campaign, terrible multiplayer, but I mean, hey, I'd take anything over Black Ops 3's, and a pretty decent zombies mode. But zombies did kind of lean a bit with the storyline, but I honestly thought it was pretty simple to follow storyline. Take notes, Black Ops 3. And we're gonna go ahead and discuss the Infinite Warfare zombie storyline, basically. So, yeah. So it all started with a man named Willard Wyler, who was known for making famous horror movies. And you know what? Let's just go ahead and skip the origin of Willard Wyler. I'm sorry, but they did not explain his origin at all. Like, we don't know how he got in contact with Mephistopheles, how in the world did he even do this ritual in the first place. So that would be explained in the second installment of Infinite Warfare, because it has been confirmed they are making a sequel to Infinite Warfare, but it's not going to be called Infinite Warfare 2. So we have no idea what it's going to be about, but it is going to continue the storyline, and it may continue explain some stuff. So let me go ahead and just say what I do know about Willard Wyler. He is a man who everyone thinks is such an amazing director. He's been directing for so many years, basically almost his entire life, and he had a wife and a child, and he was working with not working, but he was, I don't know, just had a movie theater or something. I don't just something, I don't know. So he made some iconic films, and I'm just gonna go ahead and name these films. He made the films that we know right now. He made Nightmare Summer. He made not Cabin Fever. He made a bunch of other minor horror movies, but we're not gonna list all of them, or else this freaking thing would go on for 15 minutes. Well, 55, I don't know. So let me just go ahead and name the main movies that we do discuss. He's made Zombies in Spaceland, an 80s film about zombies overrunning an amusement park. He made Raven Redwoods, a horror movie about teenagers getting eaten by zombies in a rave park while being stalked by the slasher. He made Shaolin Shuffle, a movie about I don't know, Pam Grier teaming up to defeat the Rat King while there's zombies everywhere. Yeah, that'd be kind of a weird movie in my opinion. You have Attack of the Radioactive Thing, about a radioactive thing terrorizing a local beach area with zombies overrunning. And you have Beast from Beyond, a remake of a iconic film that Willard had made from his Extinction series, which featured Point of Contact, Nightfall, Mayday, Awakening, and Exodus. So, Beast from Beyond was basically a remade facility from Nightfall, which takes place in space, and is a lot more deadlier. Oh boy. So, long story short, he trapped David Hasselhoff into Spaceland, he trapped Kevin Smith into Rave, he trapped Pam Grier into Shaolin, he trapped Elvira into Attack, and we don't know as of right now who he trapped in Beast. It's probably doesn't even have a celebrity character in it, so heck, I don't know. But what I do know is how, like, basically let's go ahead and get into more detail of these characters being transferred. So we have no idea how Hoth got here. I do have a theory though that all of these characters are against their will, and they're so attached to their roles that they don't want to leave the movie, so they just keep working the movie. So anyways, we have Kevin, who had a buddy, and they were huge fans of Willard's and watched all of his horror movies, and so one day, Willard invited Kevin to star in his movie along with his friend. So they went up, and basically they both got trapped in Raven the Redwoods, and I guess he made Kevin the slasher in the movie. So Kevin became the slasher, killed his friend, and one by one killed all the teenagers who came in Raven the Redwoods, but didn't know he was the slasher, so he was basically hiding in some sort of cabin. So that's where Kevin is right now. We have Pam Grier, who got sucked into Shaolin Shuffle, and I guess she's a sensei and she watches over the town now. You have Elvira, who has an interesting case. She actually is aware of Willard and is trying to fight back, and she's changing stuff around the map as she goes. It's unexplained how she got this power, but let's just go ahead and roll with it. So that's where all the celebrities are. And let me remind you guys, he did not make Shaolin Shuffle in the 70s. He did not So he did not make Shala in the 70s, and he did not make Attack in the 60s. He was a fan of how horror movies was back in the day, so he made them 60s style and he made them 70s style, but he did not make these in the 70s or 60s. He made these in the 80s or 90s, but he did a 70s style. So these are actually movies that came out around each other. So yeah, now let's go ahead and get into modern day where Willard is still working for Mephistopheles, and he invites AJ. He his dad's an athlete or something, and he wants to become an actor. You have Andre, who was born in the hood, and he always had a dream for being an actor, so he did it. You have Sally, whose parents are famous actors, and every time she tries to be an actor, you have people saying, keep on bringing up her parents, and she's so overshadowed by her parents. She just wants to be herself and be an actor. And you have Poindexter, a huge nerd and a huge diehard fan of Willard, who's watched all of his movies and is extremely smart. So they all get invited into Willard's theater, where they are then sucked into Zombies in Spaceland, and where Willard or Mephistopheles, whoever is in control, thinks they are gonna die. So they all get in, but they figure out they work together quite nicely. So we begin the first installment in the zombie season, Zombies in Spaceland. So basically what they do is that they eventually come in contact with David Hasselhoff. So David Hasselhoff explains that if they can get these 3 parts around the map and give it to him, he will make a satellite to contact the mothership. So they do this for him, and he makes a satellite, except that they had to contact the UFO, which would make a lot of noise. So it would summon all of the zombies to try to defeat the satellite and try to kill it. So they all gotta team up and defend the satellite until it's eventually done. They have to do this a total of 3 times, so it's longer each time until they eventually contacts the mothership. The UFO comes, and then they gotta play some games with it, and then once the games are played, the aliens come out and they kill the aliens and they get the key. So then they teleport into Raven the Redwoods, and so Willard acknowledges this, and he's like, wait a minute, how in the world did they do this? No one has ever survived Zombies in Spaceland besides David. I was expecting him to die right here. So then he eventually just realizes that Raven Redwoods is 10 times scarier than Zombies in Spaceland, way much more deadlier, so they will easily die in Raven Redwoods. So they finally make it to Raven Redwoods, where a bunch of teenagers are slaughtered by zombies, and they teleport inside of a cabin. So they eventually make it around the campus where they run into Kevin Smith himself. So Kevin Smith explains to them that if they can bring a boat and they can ride out of here, then and he gets his memory back, then they'll be able to ride off. So they all agree, and they all go to basically get these pictures around the map, and I guess unscribble them out and do a ritual, which will help Kevin gain his memory back. So it's explaining the story until eventually on the 3rd photo, it's revealed that Kevin is the slasher and he killed his best friend. So once they all get on the boat, they're ready to ride out of the island. But once Kevin sees the pictures, he has a freak out and falls in the water and turns into none other than the Super Slasher. So once they kill Kevin as the Super Slasher, he's dead now, and they get another part of the Soul Key. So they get the Soul Key, and they travel the Shaolin Shuffle to where they're wondering when in the world will they get back in theater, but as the door opens, they get ready to kick some zombie butt. Meanwhile, Willard is laughing his butt off for some reason. I don't know why he's laughing. So let's go ahead and get into some things. So on Shaolin Shuffle, it's revealed that a man who is a famous billionaire, it turns out he's corrupt and he stole all of his money. So he gets tracked down and he loses everything. So he takes a formula and drinks it. It's some sort of serum which turns him into the Rat King, and he becomes the Rat King, and I guess terrorizes the people of New York. And Pam Grier is also here, who has a long wish to kill the Rat King once and for all. So anyways, the characters eventually make it to Pam Grier, who's held up inside of a sensei shop, and Pam Grier says that she must train them first, and then once she trains them, then they can defeat the Rat King. So the first step involves them basically summoning the Rat King for the first time with a variety of training skills. Once they defeat the Rat King, they gotta use his eye and locate some symbols and do the Morse code. And then once they do that, he comes back a second time. They defend him off, and then they gotta get his heart, which is the hardest part. So after doing all these challenges again, once they get the heart, they are now ready to fight the Rat King. So the boss fight begins where the Rat King is just based. So you gotta use all of your training in Shaolin Shuffle and use it to your knowledge in order to defeat the Rat King. And so once the characters defeat the Rat King, Pam Grier helps them out, finishes off the Rat King, and commends the characters for such a great job. So she awards them with a katana to use as they wish, and then teleports away. So they get the next part of the soul key and travel on to attack the radioactive thing. So Elvira, I don't know if she's aware she's in a movie or something, but she's just basically messing around with the viewer on the intro, and then the characters load in. They're just basically like, "Where are we?" and then attack the radioactive thing. So basically, all they gotta do is they have to do some chemistry, and it turns out that the scientists were at this beach left a formula in order to defeat the radioactive thing, but they were not able to use it. And so once the characters developed the formula to defeat the radioactive thing, they armed it in a nuke and teleported to the radioactive thing's hideout. So they exploded the bomb, and the radioactive thing ate it. So they then had to shoot the bomb inside of his stomach until it hurt him. So then all they had to do was just get past his lasers, go inside of him, go in his stomach, and enter the code to the bomb, and it set off, exploding the radioactive thing. So the radioactive thing dies, and then they get the next part of the soul key, and they teleport to Beast from Beyond, where they all get ready for Willard's final epic movie to throw at them. Beast from Beyond, where they're gonna be fighting zombies, and zombies are definitely 100% gonna be the least of their problems. So in the spaceship, Poindexter explains that this facility is overrun with cryptids from a movie called Extinction, a movie about a bunch of survivors fighting off an alien horde until everyone eventually dies and the Earth blows up. But it doesn't blow up, but it just gets burned, whatever, you know the drill. So after they realize what they're getting into, they all head out, and then Andre has an inspirational speech, reminds me of something, and says how they're getting the last piece of this soul key and getting the heck out of here. So once they enter the facility, they kill some zombies, and then they find Neil's robot head, and they also have a run-in with the cryptids. So once they find Neil's robot head and put him on, they gotta go find 4 access cards and put them in the right order. Once they put them in the right order, Neil gets mad and tries to kill them all in the facility. So they all basically gotta hack Neil, and then once they hack Neil, they had to carry his head and put him into a computer and pack a punch. And so now they can finally get the heck out of this film. So so for some reason, once they hold down Square and Neil, they teleport into an arena, but they gotta fight off up against a whole bunch of cryptids, and then eventually they gotta kill the mammoths. But the characters have come this far and they're not giving up, and they killed the mammoths and got the last piece of the soul key. So once they teleport into theater, Willard is there to congratulate them, as this has been his plan all along, for them to successfully get past so they can stop the one behind us. But the characters are too blind to see this, so they get Willard and throw him into Spaceland, and he gets sucked in. So meanwhile, the characters are feeling accomplished and they are finally done, so they try to leave the theater, but it turns out that once they killed Willard, they are now Mephistopheles' replacements, and Mephistopheles comes to greet them and explains to them how their new job will be to collect souls. So then he morphs into none other than Pam Grier, revealing that Pam Grier that entire time in Shaolin Shuffle was Mephistopheles, and when he granted their quote-unquote wish to get back to the theater, it was actually Mephistopheles, and he granted their wish, but he put them into another theater. So then they all team up to kill Mephistopheles, as Mephistopheles vows to have their souls. So once Mephistopheles loads up, they basically have to do a bunch of variety of things and survive a bunch of everything they face. They have to survive ninja zombies, they gotta survive cryptids, they gotta survive all this crap. They gotta survive even the Slasher coming back. And then once And then once Mephistopheles is weakened, they shoot the crap out of him, and then they load back in to the theater. So they run and they try to get out of the theater, but it turns out that they still can't get out, revealing that this entire time they were all stuck into the soul jar, and there's no way to get out. But this is not the end yet. So Willard is in Spaceland and realizes what he has to do. So he does the same stuff that he did that the characters did, and got out of Spaceland unharmed. And so the characters realize that Willard is back. Then Willard is saying, "Now do you understand? This is why I've chose each of you," revealing that Willard chose all of these people so that they could make a final stand against Mephistopheles to kill him. And basically it's setting up the sequel to where they're finally going to be putting an end to Mephistopheles once and for all. And then that's the end. So what you guys think of the storyline? I thought the storyline was pretty sick. It was pretty awesome. Pretty simple to follow, but pretty detailed. And there's a lot of stuff that I skipped out. So I recommend playing all of these maps and watching videos, because there's a lot of stuff that I did skip. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. See you guys next time. Peace.
Dude, that's so awesome.
Wait. Not.
Oh!
Yoink.